When do we meet real people? Have you ever had that moment when you were absolutely sure you knew someone, and then, out of nowhere, something happens that completely changes the way you see them? It's subtle sometimes. A reaction, a decision, a word said at the wrong, or maybe the most honest, moment. And suddenly, it feels like a curtain has been pulled back. Like a mask has fallen. And for a brief second, you're no longer looking at the version of them you were used to. You're seeing something deeper. Something real. And that moment can be uncomfortable, surprising, even painful. Because it forces you to question not just who they are, but what you believed about them all along. The truth is, no one walks around showing their full self all the time. We all adapt. We all adjust. Not because we're fake, but because life demands it. In different environments, we present different sides of who we are. At work, we show strength, control, productivity. Around friends, we show humor, lightness, connection. At home, maybe we show vulnerability, or sometimes even exhaustion. But the question is, are these versions real, or are they just fragments? Carefully selected pieces of ourselves designed to fit expectations, avoid judgment, and maintain acceptance? And it goes even deeper. When you look at someone, are you really seeing them? Or are you seeing what you want to see? Because the human mind has a powerful tendency to fill in the gaps. We project. We imagine. We build narratives about people based on limited information. We turn them into heroes, into villains, into people they were never fully meant to be. And then, when reality shows up, raw and unfiltered, it feels like betrayal. But was it really them who changed, or was it our perception finally being corrected? What's fascinating is that we rarely discover someone's true character in moments of comfort. Comfort hides things. It smooths edges, softens reactions, keeps everything within a safe and predictable range. But life doesn't stay comfortable forever. Sooner or later, pressure comes. Pain comes. Loss comes. Or even success comes. And that's when things change. That's when the real version of someone begins to emerge. Pay attention to how people act when things go wrong. When expectations collapse. When stress builds. When there's nothing to gain. That's where character reveals itself. It's in the silence after disappointment. It's in the decision to stay or walk away. It's in whether someone reaches out or disappears. And on the other side, look at what happens when things go right. When you succeed. When you win. When life smiles at you. Who celebrates you genuinely? Who feels joy for you without comparison, without hidden resentment? These moments are like emotional X-rays. They don't lie. But here's something even more challenging to accept. Sometimes, the reason we don't truly know people is because we never allowed ourselves to see them clearly. We were too focused on who we needed them to be. We ignored signs. We dismissed inconsistencies. We held on to an image that felt comfortable, even if it wasn't real. And when that image breaks, it hurts, not just because of who they are, but because of what we believed. And then comes the most uncomfortable realization of all. We often don't even know ourselves. Think about it. How many times have you reacted in a way that surprised you? Felt something you didn't expect? Avoided something you thought you were strong enough to face? Or discovered strength in a moment where you thought you would break? These moments reveal something important. Just like others, you also wear masks. Not only for the world, but for yourself. We tell ourselves stories about who we are. I'm strong. I'm calm. I'm patient. But life tests those identities. And when the test comes, sometimes we realize that what we believed was incomplete. Not wrong, but incomplete. And that realization can be unsettling. Because it forces you to confront parts of yourself you've avoided. It forces you to see your own shadows. Your fears. Your contradictions. If there's one place where truth becomes undeniable, it's in loyalty. Loyalty isn't declared, it's demonstrated. It shows up when there's no benefit, no reward, no recognition. Who stands by you when everything falls apart? Who remains when you have nothing to offer? And just as important, who respects you when you're not around? Who keeps your name safe in rooms you're not in? These are the questions that reveal reality. And there's another layer to this: vulnerability. Real connection doesn't happen on the surface. It doesn't happen in perfect conversations or controlled environments. It happens when someone allows themselves to be seen without protection. When they admit fear. When they show uncertainty. When they drop the need to impress. That's where truth lives. But vulnerability requires courage. Because it means risking judgment. It means stepping into uncertainty. And not everyone is ready for that. So ask yourself, with whom can you truly be yourself? Not the polished version. Not the filtered version. But the real one. The one with doubts, flaws, contradictions. Because the depth of your relationships is directly connected to the level of truth you're willing to share and accept. Now take a moment and reflect. When was the last time someone surprised you in a way that changed how you see them? Was it a disappointment? Or was it something that made you admire them even more? And more importantly, have you allowed others to see you beyond your roles, your masks, your performances? These are not easy questions. But they matter. Because they separate superficial connections from meaningful ones. They reveal which relationships are built on truth, and which are built on illusion. At the end of the day, knowing someone isn't about discovering every detail, every secret, every layer. It's about recognizing their humanity. Understanding that people are complex. That they carry both light and shadow. That they can disappoint you, and still be worthy of understanding. That they can surprise you, and still be imperfect. And maybe the real challenge isn't just to know people as they are, but to accept them as they are. Without trying to reshape them into what feels comfortable. Without holding them hostage to expectations they never agreed to. Because in the end, the question isn't whether people will reveal who they truly are. They will. Life guarantees that. The real question is, when that moment comes, will you be ready to see the truth? And even more than that, will you have the courage to accept it? And maybe, just maybe, the most important step is turning that same question inward. Are you ready to see yourself clearly? Without excuses. Without filters. Without illusions. Because true understanding doesn't begin with others. It begins with you.